We welcome you to Blues Game Day Live right here at Enterprise Center in downtown St. Louis alongside the one and only, the great, the new radio voice, but he's not new anymore. He's Joe Vitale, the St. Louis boy, the St. Louis native. You liking it so far, big guy?
Hanger, loving it every bit
You
of it.
are, aren't you?
Curbs has been rocking and rolling for me, setting it up, and I'm trying to knock it down. It's been great.
How about the first road trip? You okay with that?
Terrific. Oh, my
Okay,
gosh.
good.
Toronto and Montreal. I love the weather. Usually you go to Montreal or Toronto, it's snowing, or Winnipeg, there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. We finally got some nice fall weather in Canada. It was terrific.
And we also, as we segue into the actual hockey, we also saw some really, really good hockey. I'm going to go, you know me, I mean, you're not 5'4.5" and make it to this league without thinking of the good things.
That's
You
right,
got to
baby.
think of the good
That's
things.
right.
And I think there was so many moments, especially in Toronto and in Winnipeg, that there were many bad goals that I gave up. And what I used to tell our coaches, I don't want to see the bad goals I gave up. There's a time and a place for that, but I want to see the good stuff I did and get that positive visual reinforcement that I had. And I was thinking back, and I watched a little bit of the Toronto game, an incredible performance, and then for a large part of the Winnipeg game. So you're a player, you're inside the locker room, you know that the coaches, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I got to do this right or I got to do that right. But you as a player, are you thinking, boy, we sure did some really good things in that trip?
If I'm a player, I'm far more encouraged at this point in the game than I am frustrated. You know, I think that you could kind of sit back and look at that last period of Winnipeg and how it kind of, finalized there and get a little upset. But the reality of the situation is, look at those last 2 games, Toronto and Winnipeg, 2 of the best teams in the whole league, and you're in their building, and you win 5 out of 6 of those periods. You take 3 points. I think any team in this league would come in there and love to take those points. I thought the thing I loved the most was that we finally see what St. Louis Blues hockey can look like. The identity that Mike Yeo is trying to get after, the identity that these players who come from different teams or are rookies in this league and they don't really know what St. Louis Blues hockey is. Well, now they've seen it, they've experienced it, they've played it, they know what it looks like, and now it's just about getting back to it.
Joe, that's kind of a phrase he uses a lot, Mike Yeo does. This is what it looks like.
Yes.
And sometimes when he says that, it kind of does, you kind of get lost in translation until you see it. And then when you see it, you go, whoa, okay, here's where we're at right now. Okay, so let's move forward to the 7-game home stand. Tricky. I mean, getting on the road and getting some points, knowing that you could have had more, but now you've got to get off to a good start here on home ice, just to kind of get that momentum and grab that momentum, and maybe even more importantly, and I know they're pros and they make a lot of money and they've done this for a long time, but just so they're not hearing negativity around the city too. Isn't that an important part of just say, okay, come in here, play Columbus, play it hard, and then get our 2 points, and then let's go to the next game after that.
Sure, I think that the opponent tonight, you couldn't have asked for a better opponent in the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team that came out of the gates really hard this year, surprised a lot of people. They've struggled, had a tough loss to Arizona 4-1 the other night, and this is a group that, Tortorella, I caught his media scrum, and he said that there's a lack of urgency, we can't find our identity, I don't know what this group is or what it's about. So this is a very fragile group. So to come out here tonight and start the road trip, start the homestand is going to be very important here tonight, and they got to have a good start. A start kind of like we saw in Winnipeg, where O'Reilly comes out there and scores in the first minute, and, pretty much the same group, except Hanger, we were looking at with Blay getting sent down, and Fabs is now, he's going to be on a conditioning stint, both in San Antonio. It could shake up the lines up front a little bit here tonight.
Yeah, we're obviously looking yesterday and looking at some of the formations. Look for Oscar Sundqvist. Has not been announced, but I would expect that Oscar Sundqvist will be a center iceman on that fourth line. I think at the beginning of the year, you go through training camp, you say to yourself, okay, let's get the 12 best forwards out there. And sometimes that can work, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, but as you get through the grind of the NHL season, you sure have an appreciation of the guys that do the little things, the meat and potatoes, the strong on sticks, the maybe change the momentum of a game. And I think Oscar Sundqvist has found himself in the eyes of the coaching staff, a guy that is reliable. Maybe not fancy, maybe not fast, but a reliable player. So I think they're excited if he does join the lineup to have him in there.
I think you're right, and I think of him kind of like Ivan Barbashev. He's not going to blow you away with his skill or a nice, pretty goal in the slot, but he does those little things, like you just said, Payne, and that's so valuable to this team, and maybe something that can kind of get lost in translation at times, but valuable nonetheless. Ivan Barbashev will get pucks out, he'll get pucks in, he's blocking shots like a madman on the penalty kill, and the penalty kill has been incredible for the Blues and power play. Sergei Bobrovsky probably getting the start here tonight, and talent. How do the Blues?
But I think the one area that you can expose with this team and if you're backing in, then your goaltender is going to back up a little bit as well. And I do believe that he's not a very aggressive goalie when the little passes that are around the crease. He's not really active with his stick. So let's say, you're off to his left, so you're on the right-hand side, and you've got to play over to the blocker side. I know Arizona picked that apart a little bit. Teams have around the crease area. So it's interesting now that goalies aren't, they'll let a puck go through the crease and then rely on an incredibly brilliant stretch save.
Right.
But, these players are so good, they'll make you pay a price there. I do believe that he's great down low, phenomenal legs down low. He keeps a wide stance, kind of lures you into shooting between the 5-hole, and then he takes it away from you. But obviously when you get a goalie like that, you can get rebounds off the pads if you're willing to go jam the net, or even that discipline to fire a puck off the wing, not to score, but for the next play, the old pass off pads. So those are some areas that the Blues may be able to expose with Columbus. But they've got some defensemen that are just fun to watch. Seth Jones returned to the lineup. Zach Werenski last year, I give him a lot of credit. He played on a really bad shoulder, and still he had 16 goals. I didn't hear that guy complain one bit last year. So you're the Blues forwards. You better keep your head on a swivel, because Zach Werenski is a rover. He is everywhere, and I think Seth Jones is one of the pure great two-way defenseman in the NHL.
I agree with you there, and this has been a huge addition for the Columbus Blue Jackets to add to the depth they have in the offense, and beginning with Panarin and Atkinson's line, and this is a line to keep an eye on tonight. They're fun to watch as a fan, and very difficult to defend against, and look at a guy like Panarin, Joel Edmondson, hopefully we'll see that matchup tonight, who's been so good.
Yeah, he's been terrific, yeah.
Toronto, Winnipeg, Tavares, and he was all over Line and Wheeler, and just snarly, kind of closes space well, cross-check heavy. So look for that matchup tonight with Panarin, because he is an unpredictable player, almost to the point where his own line mates don't even know where he is or what he's going to do next. So it's a tricky guy to guard. Yeah,
he is, and obviously whenever you get a guy that can dance like he can dance around and then change positions, and then it causes a little confusion. It's going to be Blues are going to have to be real trustworthy in their defending their own line. So yesterday I saw Dunn and Pietrangelo together. I actually saw Edmondson and Parayko together. So Parayko was with Schmaltz before. I think Bouwmeester might be with Schmaltz in this hockey game, and everything else stays the same, or it looks like anyway. Robert Thomas again may be the odd man out. He's got to stay patient, keep working on his game. I see that he's one of the first guys out here in the skates. Got a great attitude. He's a good kid, and just a matter of time before he gets in there. So I'm looking forward to this 7-game homestand, pal, and a lot of Italian food for you.
Oh man, I'm looking forward. Lynn's back in town, the old lady's back, family's back together, the kids are happy we're here. This is going to be great, and hopefully we get off to a rock and roll kind of start.
Yeah, I look forward to it, pal. I'm sure that we're going to see Jake Allen up against Bobrovsky, two big boys going at it. So hopefully everybody joins us here. The pregame show 6:30 on both KMOX and on Fox Sports Midwest. You're with Curbs tonight. I got John Kelly, Bernie Fedorko, and Scott Warman with the pregame show. We got it all covered right here in downtown St. Louis. Have a great day, everybody.